What's up, friend? I just want you to know that I've been gone for a while. Sorry I've been gone. I recently went through a stroke and I'm on the recovery right now. I should be better in no time. I've been going to physical therapy and speech therapy. I feel better. I'm better. If you want more detail about my stroke, there's a link below. So go ahead and click that. Otherwise, just enjoy the video. This video is supposed to have been out in November, but I was in the hospital for about a month or so. So, no, everything got delayed. But, by all means, I am back. By all means, go ahead and watch the video. Put a lot of effort into this. I've edited a lot of this video. So, and this shirt right here is on sale right now, $18.85. It's the Black Wall Street t-shirt. The one I'm wearing is the Jamaica shirt. Go to the website. Let me show you what the site's called. Comfortzone.com. Is it right there? Comfortzone.com. There's a lot of t-shirts and different shoes and all kinds of stuff on here. So go ahead and knock yourself out. Go ahead and check it out. Anyways, here's the video, and I will be back with more videos, more updates. I'm glad to be back. Thanks a lot, fam, and thanks for being there while I was gone, making the channel grow. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Before we jump into this video, please hit the like button, get your friends and family to hit the like button, and make sure you share this video. This is not just another video about racism and not just another video about white supremacy. We will dig deep into this problem that so many are in denial about. Racism is real. White supremacy is real. And contrary to ignorant belief, systematic racism that destroyed black communities for centuries is damn real. So the new merchandise shop will be launching soon, and we'll have something for everyone, from t-shirts to clothes for dogs, mugs, hooded sweaters. We'll have everything covered. After this message, we'll be back and deeply dive into and expose their deeply distorted version of history.
You're going to like this.
To understand the actual cost or impact of white supremacy, you first must tune out all of the lies your politicians tell you. You have to tune out all of the bullshit you have allowed the media to brainwash you with, and you must understand that the truth contradicts the lies you have been indoctrinated with in the US school system. Let us begin this foolishness with the latest thing that white racists have latched onto. A beautiful black singer and actress will portray the new Little Mermaid. Halle Bailey is best known for being one half of the musical duo Chloe x Halle and playing Sky in Grownish. Since the trailer was first shown, white racists have gotten so angry and frustrated that they've stopped at nothing to make stupid, uneducated, and racist comments to share their dislike of the dark-skinned Little Mermaid. Recently, Disney had to actually pull down the Little Mermaid trailer because it amassed 1.5 million dislikes. Now, we know the girl can sing, and she's a good actress, so those things had nothing to do with the dislikes. This was simply because people don't like her skin color. Some people in China said that there were too many dark-skinned people in Black Panther, and the result of that was Black Panther grossing a total of $1.3 billion worldwide. They don't care about your money. Some say their comments were not meant to be racist, but this is a direct result of the world embracing the white supremacist ideology. But as always is the case with uneducated white supremacist ideology, they have missed and deliberately overlooked many glaring examples of how this same type of character reassignment has been done to dark-skinned people for generations, and none of them was upset when it was a dark-skinned character and culture being appropriated by white racists. Let's take a trip through history so I can show you how deep the racist rabbit hole goes. Since they are up in arms about Disney, let's start here. Since Disney now owns Marvel, they possess all of the controversies surrounding it. In 1982, the first female Captain Marvel was a dark-skinned woman named Monica Rambeau. You may know her from her appearance in the MCU's Captain Marvel when she was a little girl, and she appeared as an adult in Disney Plus's WandaVision, where we witnessed her origin story. To repeat, Marvel's first African-American female superhero was Captain Marvel, before Carol Danvers. As you can see, she wore a black and white costume, easily one of Marvel's most iconic 1980s visuals. Monica was even appointed the leader of the Avengers for a while, but in a 1988 storyline, she lost her powers and stepped down. Luckily, she got them back, plus a few new ones, and returned a year later as the star of her own series, Captain Marvel Volume 2, which lasted from 1989 to 1994. After that, she underwent several name changes. In a 1996 storyline, she adopted a new superhero named Photon. In 2006, she became Pulsar. And since 2010, she's best known as Spectrum. Now, Carol Danvers starts out like her movie counterpart as a former Air Force officer. Unlike the film, where her powers come from the Tesseract, her abilities in the comics come from being bombarded with radiation. She'd been taken hostage, and as she was rescued, she was exposed to a Kree weapon that essentially turned her half Kree. In 1977, she got her own comic series as the hero Ms. Marvel. Though canceled 2 years later, it was groundbreaking for its expressly feminist subject matter, including Carol's fight for equal pay in her civilian identity. After the series ended, she was a frequent player in X-Men and Avengers-related stories. Over the years, Carol Danvers assumed other hero identities: Binary in 1982, Warbird in 1998, and a return to Ms. Marvel in 2006. She finally became the official, undisputed Captain Marvel in a 2012 storyline. She has only been Captain Marvel for 10 years and was given a movie. The true, dark-skinned Captain Marvel will likely be depowered and use the name Photon in the MCU. There were no dark-skinned people raising hell. We didn't try to boycott the movie. We didn't go online using racist remarks to express displeasure. This is a white supremacist move. We don't care about this type of thing because the white racists have been doing this to us for generations. By the way, this is Nick Fury in the comics. This is Nick Fury in the MCU. Why haven't any of you white supremacists complained or raised hell or made racist posts online as you did with Halle Bailey? Let's move over to DC. Nubia is a character whom DC has chronologically confirmed was a Wonder Woman before the character creation of the Wonder Woman we are all familiar with. Nubia first appeared in the comics in 1973. Before her race was revealed, Nubia was dressed in silver armor and bested Princess Diana in combat. Right before striking a blow, Nubia revealed herself as the Wonder Woman of Floating Island, a land that she ruled that was populated only by men. Nubia and Princess Diana were supposed to clash for the right to the title, but DC reduced Nubia's role dramatically. Again, there were no dark-skinned people raising hell. We didn't try to boycott the movie. We didn't go online using racist remarks to express displeasure. This is a white supremacist move. We don't care about this type of thing because the white racists have been doing this to us for generations. I'll pause for a few minutes and show you some examples of the white racists who have grown up in this privileged system and feel that everyone whose skin does not match theirs is beneath them. I want to talk a little bit about a new affiliate, Nagast Footwear. They are a black-owned company that makes some of the best quality shoes, clothes, and hats that I've seen in a very long time. They are designed to empower customers and to teach self-love, self-respect, and self-confidence. I've purchased some of their footwear, and they have lasted me well over a year. Nagast Footwear makes sneakers, running shoes, slippers, boots, hats, and clothing. I love my slippers. I love my sneakers. Even game show contestants love my sneakers. Click my affiliate link below to visit their site to browse and to shop. Every purchase helps me grow this platform. Here you will see how a simple thing like giving people of color a chance to showcase their skills in a movie sets them off and makes their genuine racism appear. They pretend that the history of the entertainment industry in this country didn't keep everyone who was not white out of the meaningful roles for decades and steal the music of those minority artists for decades and capitalize on the fame. These people have lost their grasp on reality and have no historical knowledge of facts. Here's a question on Quora and the hateful, racist comments. This particular topic is huge on Quora. The racists gravitate to a safe place online where they can exchange their hateful rhetoric with one another. These characters are all fictional. Why the hell does any of this matter? These are all actors and actresses doing their jobs, and also, Disney does not care if you don't watch the movie. Perhaps you should use this energy to research how much Disney earns annually. They aren't thinking about the racists who are weak-minded and petty. They care only about those who are adding to their massive wealth and bottom line.
When I tell you it was heinous, I'm going to have to be careful how I word this so that I don't get in trouble, but I think it needs to be said because I am sick and tired of hearing people say that people of color just need to get over it already because it was so long ago. No, it wasn't. My father remembers his father raising hunting dogs that he would rent out on the weekend for hunting parties, only these weren't regular hunting parties. These big bubbas would set up these almost lemonade type stands during the week and sell these little cards for like, I don't know, a nickel, 25 cents. They were person of color hunting licenses. And everyone who bought one during the week, they would gather together on the weekend with all their trucks and they would round up as many people of color in the surrounding areas as they could find, turn them loose in the woods and set the dogs after them. There are people alive today whose family were hunted down in the woods by dogs. And they raised their children to have a well-earned distrust of white people and of police officers. Because I guarantee you, any of the police officers that weren't wearing the hoods were turning a blind eye. This town, Vidor, Texas, at one time, I believe was known as the most racist city in the United States. It was a sundown town. They had a billboard that said, "Person of color, don't let the sun set on your ass." And anyone who was not white knew you don't drive through Vidor after dark. Even truckers would avoid that route if they weren't 100% certain that they could make it through before sundown, because God forbid they had a blowout or some sort of mechanical trouble in Vidor, Texas after dark, because they had citizens and police officers patrolling looking for them. If you were in Vidor, Texas after dark and you were not white, you probably wouldn't be seen again, or at least you wouldn't be seen in one piece. It's hard for me to talk about. The library sold t-shirts with rifles across it that said "People of Color." we're ready for you. The Klan marched down Main Street openly and with full support of the municipalities and the people until 1985. 1985.
The movie Pocahontas, essentially a huge lie, got one thing right in the main song. As you can see here, this mentality is white supremacist. They invaded a land, took it from the indigenous people, and called them savages because they were defending their land. Pocahontas was underage, but John Smith didn't seem to give a damn. But of course, let's sweep that historical fact under the rug too, because that is all white racists want, to hide their ancestors' evil while maintaining their ancestors' evil.
So apparently, nearly 100,000 people in the UK have now signed up to take in a Ukrainian refugee. And apparently the idea is you have to have them in your home for a minimum of 6 months. But these refugees or immigrants, or however you like to refer to this situation, are allowed to work and stuff in the UK. So the benefits of the £350 go to the person taking them in. It's not to sustain the refugee. 100,000 from a country who historically hate immigration. I ask you, how many of them 100,000 people that signed up for this scheme would do it if the refugees were coming from Syria, Iraq, Somalia, anywhere where there are brown people? Think about it. And think about our government, especially the Tory party, historically well against immigration. Why are they suddenly doing a full U-turn and opening our borders to the Ukrainians? There is a bigger agenda here. And if you're not waking up to that and asking fucking questions, you are an idiot at this point. The fact of the matter is, the media and the government are trying to train your brain. They are trying to condition you and socialise you into viewing our black brothers and sisters as lesser beings. They are trying to make them below you. The fact that they're turning around on their immigration stance to let predominantly white Ukrainians into the country, but would never have done this for any other race that are fleeing from war, tells me everything I need to know. And the fact that the people in the UK and probably other countries can't see that fucking worries me. That goes to show how programmed people are. This country is racist. At this point, I'll stand by what I said in my previous video, which has had like over 3,000 shares at this point, because that many people resonated with what I said. If you have turned around on your stance about immigration and opening our borders, you're a fucking racist. You're only doing it because Ukrainians are predominantly white people. You didn't give a shit when it was Afghan people or people from Palestine or Syria and all these other countries that are still in war, still fleeing, sending their children to die in boats, drowning because we won't let them in. If we've managed to do this U-turn for white people, we need to do this U-turn for people of colour too. Write to your government, write to your MPs, make a video, speak up about it. We need to do something about this because this is fucking systemic racism at work.
What about Betty Boop? This one is confusing, so stay with me. First, Betty Boop started out as a female dog. Helen Kane was a Caucasian performer who stole the catchphrase "boop boop a doop" from a Harlem African-American jazz singer and entertainer named Esther Jones to save her career. Esther's stage name was Baby Esther. The theft worked, and Kane shot up in popularity. In 1930, Grim Natwick created the character Betty Boop using a photograph of Helen Kane. Max Fleischer is often credited as the creator because Natwick was working for him at the time. Fleischer went on to develop the character from Natwick's initial creation as the public had fallen in love with the character, so Paramount Pictures urged Fleischer to mold the character. The character outlasted Kane, who unsuccessfully filed a lawsuit over using "boop boop a doop." Still, a witness acknowledged that it was used by Esther Jones in her performances 2 years before the creation of the Betty Boop character. The catchphrase is what made Betty Boop so popular. It's estimated that the Betty Boop franchise generated millions of dollars in revenue from television networks and sales of merchandise. Still, Esther Jones and her family got nothing despite the witness crediting her 2 years before Betty Boop's creation. I don't recall any racist or hateful remarks from the dark-skinned people. It must be a white supremacist thing. Oh, the controversy. Let's shift gears to something far more controversial. I don't recall any of you white racists complaining when the accurate description of Jesus was taken and altered to conform to a more European standard. The Bible clearly describes Jesus Christ's appearance, yet my entire life was filled with a narrative that defied logic. In Revelation 1, verses 12 through 18, it states, "Then I turned to see the voice that was speaking to me, and on turning I saw 7 golden lampstands, and in the midst of the lampstands one like a son of man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash around his chest. The hairs of his head were white like white wool, like snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined in a furnace, and his voice was like the roar of many waters. In his right hand he held 7 stars. From his mouth came a sharp 2-edged sword, and his face was like the sun shining in full strength." For those still in denial, hair of white wool and feet were like burnished bronze does not describe any European descendants or any European traits, yet this is what the most common image of Jesus looks like in America. What about Christian Bale playing Moses, who was not Caucasian? Or Laurence Olivier, who played Othello in blackface? Scarlett Johansson played a Japanese anime character in Ghost in the Shell. John Wayne played Genghis Khan. Jake Gyllenhaal played the main character in Prince of Persia.
Talking of pronunciation, let's put this to bed once and for all. Is it pronounced Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal?
It's pronounced Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
It's very hard to spell as well, isn't it? How many L's?
There are 3 L's.
But where do they go in the word? Nobody knows.
There'd be 2 ones start at the beginning. It's top heavy.
Okay. I've asked other people, other actors, to spell it, and they're having trouble with it, to be honest.
And there have been so many Caucasian actors and actresses who played biblical characters who are not Caucasian, mainly Jesus. And then there's Mickey Rooney. My goodness, Mickey Rooney. In Breakfast at Tiffany's, he played probably the most racist character in movie history when he played Mr. Yunioshi. This racist film crew dressed him up to look like the Japanese caricatures that they used to draw during World War II with yellow face makeup and oversized buck teeth. Now, I'm not going to play the videos or any of the clips from that movie because I don't want to be dinged or demonetized, or I don't want YouTube coming after me. But just look at this, what's going on in the background. I am speechless. You guys have to look this up. It's called Breakfast at Tiffany's. You guys have to look this up and you have to see this for yourselves. Anyways, white supremacy is real. The US is dominated by a white supremacist system, which is real. Racism is real. Systematic racism is real. Discrimination against anyone who is not white is real. I have listened to people for decades lie to me about racism. I have watched as people who benefit from the system turn against the dark-skinned people, blaming us for everything they feel is negative while ignoring the fact that they are too simple-minded to realize that their politicians are manipulating them because, quite frankly, it's easy to do. They walk around every day entitled and feel everything is theirs, utterly oblivious to actual historical facts. They refuse to acknowledge that their ancestors took everything from the indigenous people of Turtle Island. They refuse to recognize that systematic racism is ingrained in the culture of the US because their politicians told them it's not true. They have the nerve to call dark-skinned people stupid or dumb when they are too stupid even to conduct the most basic research to expose their politicians are the biggest liars in the country. Here are some facts that the white racists want to hide and pretend never happened. Then they lie to themselves and family in a feeble attempt to hide the truth from everyone. Let's start with the wealth gap. According to Sean Rochester, author of The Black Tax, The Cost of Being Black in America, the cause of this gap can be traced back to slavery. The wealth gap between black and white America was established through 250 years of unpaid labor. While it's hard to quantify the exact cost of slave labor, Rochester said economists have estimated anywhere from $24 to $97 trillion of labor was extracted from enslaved Africans from 1619 to 1865, so he uses an average of $50 trillion in his calculations. So that is centuries of free labor, money that did not have to be spent on those tasks. The money went directly to building the wealth of these families and businesses, many of which benefit to this day. Black Americans were denied access to government-sponsored wealth-building tools. In 1863, Black Americans were denied access to the Homestead Act, which promised 160 acres of land to citizens in exchange for a small fee and 5 years of cultivating the land. Over 70 years, 1.6 million mostly white homesteaders claimed 270 million acres, about 10% of U.S. land, valued at $1.6 trillion. Many Black Americans were also excluded from the Social Security Act in 1935. Agricultural and domestic workers were left out of the act, resulting in a $143 billion loss to the community. Through a payroll tax, the Social Security Act provided unemployment and financial benefits to retired workers over 65. And the GI Bill in 1944, which effectively excluded Black veterans, provided funds for college education, housing, and unemployment insurance, and cost Black Americans another $45 billion. This is a nationwide effort to stifle our growth, called systematic racism. Your politicians will keep telling you that it's not true, and the angry white racist parents who I highlighted in the CRT video will tell you that they are not racist. At the same time, they follow racist politicians and their racist ideology. This is all a game, and they have checkmated all of you. The politicians don't care. They don't mind wealthy minority athletes and artists, but if they decided to pool their money to build another Black Wall Street, you would see the true hate of white racists. Remember, I said in a previous video that the buying power of African Americans rose to $1.6 trillion, or 9% of the nation's total buying power in 2020. According to the official Black Wall Street report in June 1921, almost 10,000 white rioters stormed Black Wall Street and over 2 days killed up to 300 of the 11,000 Black residents, burned 1,256 homes, and looted and robbed another 529 homes and buildings and destroyed 35 square blocks, leaving up to 10,000 Black residents without homes or businesses. Imagine if Black Wall Street had been allowed to thrive. All of these things prevented dark-skinned people from building any wealth. The white racists can deny it all they want, but their denial and delusion cannot change facts and reality. We can no longer blame white racists for what is happening when we collectively have this massive buying power. If that were channeled to Black-owned businesses, in Black-owned communities, and into Black-owned banks, what would the racists do? I've said this many times and it falls on deaf ears. I get so aggravated when I see and hear the minorities complaining about their treatment at the hands of white racists, yet they keep throwing their money at them. They don't take you seriously because they know you can't stop buying their products. It only works if we do it collectively. Now, I know that we can't completely shop Black because enough of us don't own everything that we need essentially every single day. But there are a lot of things we can do, and we can redirect a lot of our money back into these Black-owned businesses. See, what you don't understand is that they put you down, disrespect you, and still look at us as less than. Imagine if we shifted our buying power to Black communities and Black-owned businesses. They don't want us in their cities and businesses, so the time is right to resurrect Black Wall Street and many communities like it. Even the great Albert Einstein knew that there was an evil cloud over this country when he came here. In 1946, Einstein traveled to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, the alma mater of Langston Hughes, and according to the Harvard Gazette, Thurgood Marshall was the first school in America to grant college degrees to African Americans. While there, he delivered a powerful speech called Racism, a Disease of White People. Einstein's visit to Lincoln is not better known because it was virtually ignored by the mainstream press, which regularly covered Einstein's speeches and activities. Only the Black media gave extensive coverage to the event. Nor is there mention of the Lincoln visit in any of the major Einstein biographies or archives. The hate this country had for the dark-skinned students prevented the media from covering someone they usually covered every time he had speaking events. They did not want to bring any positive light to the dark-skinned students at Lincoln. Before I end, let me say this. The racists who have raised their children to believe that whiteness is superior are setting their children up for a terrible future and catastrophic failure. This is the world population by race. The Caucasian people are not the largest. Now think about this. The sizes of the African and Native American sections are smaller because the Caucasians have been slaughtering these groups for centuries. It takes an unprecedented level of evil to dedicate your entire existence to killing another ethnic group. Generations later, your families still have this hate in their hearts and refuse to acknowledge that all the actions brought about by your ancestors are the primary cause of the financial gap. What does this all mean? And what is my purpose for creating this video? Well, to my brothers and sisters worldwide, you cannot blame any Caucasians for what is happening today. Do you even recognize the tremendous power and control that you have with your spending power? Many of us gravitate towards ignorant foolishness that does nothing except destroy our communities. When I or any of the many intelligent content creators try to open your eyes and minds, you can't even last 10 minutes into the video because you lose interest. My only purpose is to wake you up. And I mean woke using the word's true meaning, not the remix that the stupid, undercover racist politicians promote. They have no idea what woke is, but that is another topic to be covered in another video. I hear people blaming Caucasians for all of their issues. It is 100% true that they have destroyed any opportunities we had in the past to secure our family's future, but there are ways to overcome that now. They are not forcing you to have beef and attack each other over some bullshit. They are not forcing you to spend money on material things instead of building your community. They are not forcing you to sign sports and entertainment slave contracts. They are not forcing you to embrace ignorance, then teach that same ignorance to your children. They are not forcing you to turn your back on your true history. And lastly, don't get upset when they look out for their people when the truth is you don't look out for yours. If our communities wanted to change, we would check whom we vote for. We would stop all of this self-destructive behavior. We would stop giving so much of our money to the same people who hate us, and we would open our damn eyes and realize that if the government truly wanted to end racist violence, they would. How many decades do you need to watch the same thing happen before you realize they aren't concerned about it because it does not affect them? Michael Jackson warned you when he said, "They don't really care about us." This has been your wake-up call.